It's doomerist, it's nihilist, it's people who are refusing to acknowledge reality, and they'd rather narrative hump all day talking about Democrats are so bad, Democrats are so bad, Democrats are so bad, but oh yeah, I'm a leftist.
In this video, we are going to watch a heated and at times funny and a bit strange debate between lefties. For some context, on one side of the table, you've got Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball, who are a couple, and they're also Democrats in favor of Joe Biden. And they are arguing the case fervently to Brianna on the other side as to why she should vote for the amazing Sleepy Joe instead of Cornel West. There are some hilarious dummy spits and outrageous comments in this one, guys. You're gonna love it. So with that, let's get into it.
So you're now saying,
No.
He could have used the Higher Education Act.
He did. He did. He invoked it.
He could have done that in the first instance.
But he didn't, and now he tried it again through the Higher Education Act. The idea that it's like it's a conspiracy, he doesn't want to actually cancel it. No, he appealed the case like 4 or 5 times.
Kyle,
and then at the end of it, when the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that, he said, fuck you, I can. And he did the Higher Education Act. That's exactly what we wanted him to do. Then he does it, and people go, oh, that's not good enough. And it's like, that's ridiculous.
There, Kyle, what we wanted him to do was first and foremost, just cancel the student debt.
I expected him to do nothing on student debt. This is the point I'm trying to get across to you, is that I expected nothing from Biden, and he did way more than I expected. Let's be honest about that.
It's not about your expectations. We have different expectations.
Of course I'm going to talk about it through my expectations. I'm me.
But let me. The one thing that he was going to bargain away to get the debt ceiling passed was ending the student loan moratorium. So now it's not me. I'm not the one in control of whoever votes. He has to make the case to those 44 million Americans who's he's starting their student debt up. That's right. Months before
an election. Is the plan stronger or weaker than what you expected? Because it's way stronger than what I expected.
Way weaker than what I expected.
But I expected nothing from him on student debt. Nothing.
What I am saying, though, is that knowing that the Democratic Party is fundamentally not willing to be fair. They're willing to rig the election. They're willing to change the order of the states. They are willing to completely block Marianne out of the media. It feels rich to say that running within the Democratic Party is manifestly and demonstrably more effective in actually changing the outcomes
of the structural barriers
than Cornel West, who at very least, you keep being very dismissive, Kyle, about this 5% matching funds.
First of all, I've said like 2 words in the past 10 minutes, okay? So I'm not being dismissive about anything. I haven't gotten a fucking word in.
Okay. What is it that you're chomping at the bit to say,
It's the structural barriers against running as a third party. As rigged as it is by the DNC against outsider Democrats, which it definitely is, it's even more rigged against third parties, which is why they always get like 3% of the vote.
Which is literally why
Bernie got 43% of the vote.
Which is literally why people feel it is a structural advantage to get someone like Cornel West to 5% of the vote so they can get federal matching funds. To me, as a voter,
40% as a Democrat.
For me, as a voter in New York, I'm not interested in shoring up the Democratic Party.
No, that's him getting his ideas out. It's shoring up Cornel West. That's the whole point.
I am not a Democrat.
I understand that. That's very clear. But I'm saying that would shore up Cornel West.
And the people who also don't want to vote for Joe Biden under any circumstances are not Democrats. And fundamentally, you can make your argument. I think it's a perfectly legitimate argument to make to Democrats. I think that Democrats might think that Joe Biden is a manifestly better Democrat than other Democrats.
But it's not about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. It's about what are your political goals. And I think that 100%. We share a lot of the same political goals.
There's a big one that we don't share.
But hold on. But the question is, what is actually going to move the ball forward?
I'm confused by why you keep asking that.
Because I don't see...
Because policy is all that matters at the end of the day.
I don't see how Cornel West getting 5% and helping to reelect Trump ends up with things going in a better direction.
Like that, Crystal? He gets 5%, and then the Green Party, a third party effort, it gets stronger and more well-funded and more able to compete in future elections.
Until we have ranked choice voting, there is no even 1% viability for them. Can you admit that? Can you acknowledge that it's until we get ranked choice voting, no third party has any chance in hell. You agree with that, right?
Who do you think has been doing most of the ranked choice? Who do you think?
I'm not going to answer it. It's a simple question.
I'm going to answer it in my own time, in my own words, Kyle, respectfully.
It's a simple one. The ranked choice voting thing, if we get ranked choice voting...
I go around, I do a lot of podcasts, and I don't know what's going on right now. It might be the phase of the moon. We had the double moon last month. But I'm getting a little frustrated with feeling shouted down and disrespected in every single space that I go into. I gotta say, I promise I'm gonna answer your question, Kyle. Sit tight. I got it coming for you.
I'll sit tight.
This one only gets better, guys. But just quickly, do you guys find it as weird as I find it, watching lefties debate each other? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but But this is what I imagine it would look like, being a fly on the wall watching a chick fight. Everybody's getting emotional, and when they're not outright emotional, they're passive aggressive, and then someone starts to feel victimized, and then they blame it on the fact that it was a double moon, and maybe it's because you're an Aquarius and I'm a Taurus, and the Aquarius chakras, they don't really align with the Taurus chakras when there's a double moon. I genuinely think that after this debate, they all went for a frozen yogurt together and started bitching about their friends.
You know what would be a shorter list? All the people who don't hate Jessica.
And then when it had a pillow fight in their pajamas and a sleepover. I mean, it is strange scenes that we are seeing here. It's very different to what you'd see when conservatives are sitting down and debating each other. Or I don't know, maybe this is a bad example and I just don't watch enough of this sort of content. Now let's watch Kyle, who I usually like and respect, have an absolute simping meltdown malfunction when talking about how amazing Joe Biden is and all of his achievements, which is just reaching like I've never seen before, get put in his place by Brianna, who, if you just watch this clip, you'd think that she was based.
I mean, do you acknowledge that Biden is better than Trump? I genuinely want to know, like, how do you assess? Do you see they're like roughly the same?
I think it depends on what metric they're using. There are people who will take everything that you just said and say, if Biden escalating in Ukraine the way he has been doing, missiles going off deeper, closer to Russia that are Western in origin, and the doomsday clock ticking down on World War III the way it has been done, cancels out all of the meaningful gains that you just articulated so nicely. If it comes down to World War III versus that litany of achievements that you just articulated, there are people that, with the hindsight of living in the nuclear holocaust, would say, well, I guess that Trump actually was a better president.
Who's more likely to get us World War III, though? I definitely think it's Trump. I definitely think it's Trump more likely to get us World War III.
I don't want to know what people think.
You disagree with that?
I want to know what you think. Do you think that that's accurate? Because to me, I look at the record.
We don't know until history happens what history is going to do. I wouldn't have expected that under Biden we would have gotten in the middle of this war with Ukraine and Russia. I would not. That wasn't on my bingo card either.
Yeah, but we know that Trump was actually more hawkish towards Russia than
he built up on NATO's border.
Obama
he put troops on NATO's border.
We know what he did with Iran. We know he said he was going to get on Afghanistan. Biden actually did it. So we can evaluate these two claims. We shouldn't believe anything that Donald Trump says about Ukraine.
A toxic. This is literally just a vote blue no matter who a lesser of two evils
conversation. No, it's a let's discuss the facts and how you weigh them conversation.
How about this? Biden can be 10 times better than Trump. Let's concede that for the sake of argument. I'm not voting for him. And millions of other people feel the same way because it has absolutely nothing to do with that. I don't know how else to express this to you guys.
Guys, just quickly, if you are enjoying this video and if you want to help me out with my algorithms and see this video pushed far and wide, then it really helps if you hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. We do these sorts of videos every single day and I'd love to have you. Back to the clips.
And people are reluctant to give credit precisely because they think it will end the conversation about how much further people should be pushed. So it feels akin to saying, Jeff Bezos was walking down the street and he gave a $5 to a homeless person.
It's not that. Oh my God.
Don't you want to pat him on the back? And it's like, well, yeah, on some level, I'm glad the homeless guy can give his sandwich. But your framing of the student debt issue
is accurate.
Is precisely what the problem is.
It's not a problem. Look, I am actually discussing the facts that I learned through reading 1,000 articles on the case. Now, if I bring up those facts and it triggers some idiots into hating me, so be it. They can hate me all they want. The facts still matter.
What are you talking about?
Okay, I didn't expect him to appeal the cases. He appealed the cases. I didn't expect him to do the Higher Education Act after the Supreme Court slapped it down. He did the Higher Education Act. I didn't expect him to do any of it, and he did it. And this is something that, if I said early on, Biden's going to do nothing on student loan debt, everybody on the left would have been like, you're right, he's going to do nothing. Now he does 5, 6 different things on it, and it's like people go, no, doesn't count. I'm not saying what he's doing is perfect. Obviously, the best thing to do is to wipe it all out through executive order, and he has the authority to do that. That'd be the best thing to do. He didn't do that, but can we at least acknowledge the facts of what went down? And I see this rugged insistence. Honestly, it's like Biden derangement syndrome among some people on the left, and it's like Democrat derangement syndrome among some people on the left. The fact that we can't all agree very quickly that, well, obviously Democrats are not 10 times better than Republicans. They're 100 times better than Republicans. And even if you are somebody who's a purist and you're on the left, you can acknowledge a W in the instances you get it while still pushing for more. I mean, a perfect example is what's happening in Minnesota right now. Minnesota has a 1-seat Democrat majority. We got universal free school meals, legal weed, carbon-free electricity by 2040, tax rebates for the working class up to $1,300 if you make under $150,000 a year, 12 weeks paid family leave, 12 weeks paid sick leave. They banned conversion therapy. They did red flag laws for guns. They They did universal background checks for guns. They did automatic voter registration, public free college if you make under 80K, a ban on PFAs, which is the forever chemicals, $2.2 billion increase in K-12 school funding, sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers. These things are all not little wins. They are huge wins. And I still see this insistence like we're back in 2016 or something where people are like, no, Democrats and Republicans are either equally bad or actually jujitsu move, Republicans are the lesser evil. And I think it's idiotic. It's doomerist. It's nihilist. It's people who are refusing to acknowledge reality, and they'd rather narrative hump all day talking about Democrats are so bad, Democrats are so bad, Democrats are so bad, but oh yeah, I'm a leftist.
Going back to the student debt point.
That reaction was absolutely priceless. The pause and then the I'm embarrassed for you face was deadly in that situation. And I think that she's got the right idea in this case, because Joe Biden is clearly, unequivocally a terrible president, but maybe it's just because I'm an outsider and I'm not in the United States. But being an outsider, I can say that the whole world is laughing at the US right now. And you can sit there and say that you think Trump would be more likely to get you in a war, just like they all said before he was elected. But the fact of the matter is that it's not true. And his attitude towards other foreign leaders was clearly way better than Joe Biden. He got along with Putin, he got along with Xi Jinping, he got along with Kim Jong-un, for God's sakes. We heard the Prime Minister of Hungary come out the other day and say that Trump is basically the answer.
So Trump is the man who can save the Western world and probably the human beings in the globe as well.
But the fact of the matter is that the war didn't happen under Trump's watch. It happened under Biden's watch, whose son is also in Ukraine doing some dodgy deals. But that's for a different story. The inflation has also skyrocketed. Saudi Arabia, those guys hate Joe Biden, and they're one of America's biggest partners in trading oil. They have now joined BRICS. They're in an alliance with Russia and China, an alliance that now has 40% of the world's GDP. And their goal is the de-dollarization of the world. Their goal is to challenge US global supremacy. Furthermore, half your country thinks the election was rigged. The main opponent to your president is now being prosecuted, as are peaceful protesters being put behind bars for 22 years. You guys are sending billions of dollars to Ukraine whilst people in Hawaii suffer and get no help. Biden's son is clearly a crackhead who is using Biden's position to make lots of money and probably make Joe Biden a lot of money as well. In Ukraine, the country that is now getting billions of dollars from the United States. There are thousands of people streaming in across the southern border every single day, as well as more fentanyl than could kill the population many times over. So I don't know, in my mind, it's actually not looking that great for Sleepy Joe. Oh, but I guess he did get out of Afghanistan, and that's an achievement, whilst leaving billions of dollars of equipment for the Taliban to play with. And he did cancel off a little bit of student debt, which comes straight out of the pocket of the taxpayer, who is already stretched. And he raised the corporate tax rate. So more money for the government that's going to Ukraine. But maybe, guys, I've just got Biden derangement syndrome. It's probably what it is. I mean, I should probably make that my new Twitter bio. Suffering from severe Biden derangement syndrome. And now onto the last part, where we see some real lefty delusion taking place.
I can run through all the bad things Biden did. That's my standard rant that I've been doing for a long time now. But when you look at Trump, I mean, I don't want to sidetrack the conversation here, but like the 91 felonies that he's charged with for defrauding the United States with fake electors and effectively trying to steal the election. Like, to me, I kind of agree with the people who are like, on that alone, I mean, this is fucking crazy. We've never been here before. We're talking about the peaceful transfer of power is genuinely in question now in a way that it never was before.
Let me say, in terms of my view on Trump, the reason why I'm not even a little bit sympathetic towards the accelerationist view is, first of all, I just think, like, you know, things get worse. Sometimes they just get worse. And I think there's a real possibility that, you know, we go in the, rather than a leftist utopia, we go in the direction of like a fascist police state. I think that's a real possibility on the table. And if things get worse, I think that's probably more likely than the outcome we would like to see. But specifically on Trump, in some ways, the worst part of the Trump era has been not that it has created a divisive politics, because I believe in a divisive politics. It's just about where the divides should be. And he has made politics all about just how do you feel about the person of Donald Trump. And I think that that has been a significant barrier in terms of making any of the arguments that we want to make for a different world and better policies, et cetera. Because, yeah, you could say, oh, they'll just say Ron DeSantis or whoever is worse than Trump. But you got to acknowledge there is something a little special about the dude who's going to like do a January 6th and like, you know, have an insurrection, et cetera. He's a particularly potent villain that is weaponized very effectively. And so it creates a divisive politics that is divided along all the wrong lines. So that's why I'm not sympathetic to the view that like, oh, maybe if we elect Trump, somehow that'll make things better in an a process that's 3 years down the road or 3 decades down the road that no one can really explain. I'm not sympathetic to that because I've seen the way that Trump has made our politics worse in real time in a way that has not been beneficial.
Well, for one, I would say to the extent that we are inching closer to fascism as opposed to the socialist utopia, we got exactly here doing vote blue no matter who. So I don't think that any kind of concerted Green Party campaign or effort,
but that's not really
if we voted blue no matter who, Al Gore would have been president. We would have never had Bush, and Hillary would have beaten Trump. So vote blue no matter who would have been a whole bunch of standard milquetoast Democrats.
Okay, so I thought that Krista was joking when she said, instead of going into the direction of a leftist utopia, we're going in the direction of a fascist police state. But then Brianna also said fascism as opposed to the socialist utopia. And then nobody broke out laughing, no circus music came on, and I was left here thinking that they were actually serious about that. Who the hell uses that sort of language? That is so bizarre. How hideously naive and idealistically brainwashed can somebody be to actually think that some sort of leftist socialist utopia is actually achievable on planet Earth? How can you look at the events of the 20th century where over 100 million people were killed and think, you know what? I want to try that again, but this time under my authority, things will be different. The utopia will be brought about. Anybody who uses this language should not be listened to. Leftist socialist utopia. When I hear that sort of stuff, I just think this screams liberal Western echo chamber. I mean, go over to Eastern Europe or go to Cambodia and places like that and speak to the people who have actually been through it and see how they respond when you say those sorts of things. And on the last note, guys, fascist police state. I mean, give me a break. Who are the ones being censored? Conservatives. Who are the ones being raided by the FBI, i.e. Trump and James O'Keefe, and prosecuted? Conservatives. Who are the ones being locked up for 22 years for a protest that they weren't even at? You guessed it. Once again, just totally delusional and out of touch with reality, and the kind of talk that only happens in Western liberal echo chambers. So as per usual, guys, hit those links in the bio if you want to catch me on any of social medias or on my other channels. Subscribe to the channel right here, and if you guys want to watch another video, click right here. Until next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.